Good morning once again. The name is Alva. I am the Assistant General Secretary of the National Workers Union, and I have been asked to share some thoughts with you on the current industrial relations climate in the country today, with specific reference to the negotiations between the public sector unions and the Chief Personnel Officer among one of the items. Well, let me first of all take this opportunity to join the chorus of the unions by saying that what is happening is not a negotiation. The CPO is not engaged in negotiations with the unions. What they have done is present to the unions a take it or leave it. That's not negotiating at all. Either you agree to non-consolidation of COLA or we're not negotiating. That is the attitude of the employer. But what is more important for us to realize is that the offer, the insulting offer, let me put it that way, that was made by the CPO is consistent with the government's policy. That is what is more important for us to recognize. It is not by accident that they have put 0001 on the table and 001 for workers after 8 years of suffering without an increase. That is not by accident. When the IMF was here in 2016, Minister Imbert was quoted in the newspapers as having said to the IMF, "Gentlemen, don't worry, we're going to offer the union 000. That was in 2016. And that is exactly what they have been doing. The newspaper report on that meeting with the IMF went on to say that Imbert made it very clear that their policy is one of wage restraint. If that is their policy, then it is not possible for them to enter into negotiations, because they are restraining wages, and that is exactly what the government has been doing for the longest while. That is the reason why workers have not had a cent increase and no negotiations for more than 8 years. So we are up against a policy position that is part and parcel of IMF prescriptions. And this is nothing new that the country is facing. I remember 33 years ago very, very clearly, when the economy was in recession and the government had taken a loan from the IMF, and they had agreed to a number of conditions, very punitive conditions, and they started take away COLA, cut salaries by 10%, devalue the dollar, remove the negative list, remove price control commission, and all those things. And people will push the pauperization. What was important was what the workers did then. And the unions were able to unite the entire country, not only behind their issues, but also on the issues that affected the country itself, with mass unemployment and high prices on food. The unions were able to get the country to take a stand on March 6, 1989. And they were able to do that because they brought together the shop stewards and branch officers from the workplace into what was called a national casabo. And it was these shop stewards and branch officers of all the unions They were the ones who were calling for strike action to be taken. They were the ones who were out there mobilizing the workers at the workplace. In fact, they were the ones going from village to village, town to town, all over the country, mobilizing and organizing for strike. Without them, it could not have happened. We faced the issues of today, yesterday, 33 years ago, and we won. That is what is key. We were able to push back quite a number of the punitive measures that the government had initiated. If we didn't do that, you think we could have been talking about COLA today? They don't take away that in 1989. The reason why we could talk about COLA and consolidation today is because we stood up in 1989 and we were able to organize ourselves. What I think is needed now, really and truly, is organization. And it is important that we look at the lessons of the past to guide us in the present. This fight could only be won by a united people, and that can only come about when the second rank officers of all the unions can get together and decide what it is they want to do, how they want to intervene in this situation, because we are under tremendous attack. Everything that we have, every single condition that workers enjoy today is up for grabs. We have to defend every single thing that and we can only do that through mass organization, and not just talking about our issues as workers, but also on issues that impact the country. Imbot said that they're going to remove subsidies on water, electricity. That is what he told the IMF at the same time that he was talking 000 to them in 2016, you know. So he's running through the form. Every single thing that he promised them is what is happening today. It's in the newspapers. He promised them that he's going to implement property tax. Well, look at what is happening now. He promised them that he will cut the fuel subsidy. Look at what is happening again and again. All of these are prescriptions from that institution called the IMF that we fought against before and we won. The question is, in my view, given the big turnout on Friday, can we take the initiative now and begin to organize for sustained fight back? This month we're going to engage in this. Next month, another form of action, and we're going to keep up the pressure until we get all that we want. Because the business classes have already achieved a lot of the things that they wanted, you know. During the pandemic, they cut salaries down the line. They Lego this one, Lego that one. They fired Will. So they have. We have to see for our own class interests now. And we can only do that by organization. So I am making an open appeal for consideration for a national conference of all shop stewards and branch officers to come together and discuss this issue and develop a plan of action. Back in 1989, I remember quite clearly that they had formed an organizing committee. Well, that committee was chaired by deceased Comrade Lyle Townsend from the Communication Workers Union. And that committee would sit down and organize all the meetings, public meetings in Rio Claro, meetings in Center City Mall, Chagonas, where Selwyn John had first announced the Day of Resistance for March 6, 1989. They organized this thing properly, man. So we need to sit down and discuss how we are going to go forward. And the people to really come out and give ideas and say what they are prepared to do and so on is the shop stewards and the branch officers. They are the key to this thing. If the workers had to resist in mass until they get what they want and what they truly deserve, then it has to be organized. So let me just say that I am happy to get this opportunity to share with you that view. I don't want to make it too long and lengthy. Of course, we could go on and talk a whole set of things, right, about what we call utility and tech workers. But the question comes back, what are the workers prepared to do? And we can only get that answered by getting the shop stewards and branch officers involved in this thing. Let them meet and let them sit down and develop a plan of action.